This is the METS POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the New York Mets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The New York Mets snapped their mini losing streak and bounced back in the opener of their series against the St. Louis Cardinals, defeating them 4-1. Welcome in to the Mets Postcast here on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel and on the Locked On Mets podcast feed. I'm your Postcast host, Chris Schubert, here with you after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season. And it is nice to get back into the win column. Maybe not the perfect outing offensively that we were waiting for, but a win is a win is a win for the New York Mets as they face their first little bit of adversity this season and they handle it. And that is where we will start today's postcast.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I don't want to blow this out of proportion or make this more than what it was, but the Mets, for the first time this season, were facing a little bit of adversity. They had lost a series after winning their previous four. It was only their second series loss of the year. It was the first time this season that we had watched this team lose back-to-back games. And while it maybe isn't something that matters on the surface, you also, for the first time this season, scratched a starting pitcher, had to move your entire team around, had a major injury to Jose Siri, a very well-liked guy in the clubhouse from all of the early returns. So for the first time this season, you're dealing with some roster uncertainty. You don't know who's starting for you. You've just lost 2 games in a row. You lost a series. It is really the first time this team has kind of been knocked down and have stayed down for a little bit. And coming home, opening this series up against St. Louis, I was really intrigued to see how this team would get up off the mat because we've been questioning the offense. We know how good the pitching has been. It has given them a chance to win a lot of baseball games. But the question coming into every single night is, what version of this offense are you going to get? Is Mark Vientos going to show up? Is Brandon Nimmo going to show up? Is Juan Soto going to break out? Is Lindor going to be there? Alonso's the one constant. You are wondering what everybody else is going to bring to the table. And tonight, while I don't think we got all of those questions answered, and while I don't necessarily feel better about the offense as I did the day before, a win is a win is a win. I'm not going to complain about a team that at home scored 4 runs, 8 hits on offense. Lindor had a big day. Vientos had his first home run of the season. Brett Beatty was solid playing second base. So I'm not going to nitpick a whole lot from this performance because this was a really solid bounce back effort from this team. And they needed one because a loss tonight, 3 in a row, offensive questions continue to swirl and things can go bad to worse. But the Mets, like most good baseball teams do, and this is what the New York Mets are, they are a good baseball team. They don't allow these types of skids to last very long. You may get a couple of times throughout the year where a team loses 2 games here, maybe 3 games there, but they are not going to go on a very long streak of losing 4, 5, 6 in a row. It's just good teams very rarely let that happen. So again, I don't want to make too big of a deal out of the adversity and what they faced, but it was really the first time all season that for a couple days in a row, things didn't go this team's way, both on and off the field. And it was nice to see them be able to come home, facing that pressure, being back in front of their home crowd, and thrive in that environment. Like I said, not a huge offensive night for this team, winning 4-1, but Francisco Lindor has a big night. He goes 3 for 4. We'll talk about a huge moment that he had in this game on offense. Brett Beatty, the only other Met with multi-hits, he was 2 for 3. He drove in a run before being replaced by Luis Angel Acuna as a pinch runner, and so that was really good to see. But the Mets did just enough, and the story for them this season has been how good their pitching is. Their pitching gives them a chance every single night, and Griffin Canning delivered. The box score for Griffin Canning, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. If you are not a believer in Jeremy Hefner and the Mets pitching lab, I don't know how many more examples you need of them being able to find players, find pitchers, and get more out of them. I mean, Griffin Canning was not doing this last year with the Angels. Griffin Canning was not doing this the last couple of years. The Mets have, and they're not the only team, but the Mets have some magic when it comes to making these small tweaks, adding pitches to guys' arsenal, and more importantly, just identifying the right guys to bring in that they think will take to what the pitching lab is going to suggest, will have that work ethic to work hard to make the adjustments. I mean, there are times where you can get a pitcher and bring that guy in, and they're not interested in changing what they do. They've been around the big leagues 5, 6, 7 years. They know what got them to the big leagues. They just want to keep doing what they're doing. It takes a certain special pitcher to be able to embrace, hey, I'll throw a new pitch I've never thrown before. Hey, I'll change the way I grip my change up and make it a kick change. Hey, I'll make this adjustment or that adjustment that gives me a little bit of a different fastball that allows me to have a different offering. And so it takes a certain type of pitcher, and credit where credit is due. The Mets are just excellent right now at identifying these guys, and Griffin Canning is the latest example of it. I mean, we've criticized some Griffin Canning starts for Carlos Mendoza leaving him in too long. Not tonight. Let him get that quality start. Let him pick up his second victory of the season, 6 innings. He had the strikeout working, filled up the strike zone, everything you want to see. I mean, this is beyond my expectations for Griffin Canning. I thought best case scenario for him, we would be looking at a pitcher that would give you 5 or 6 innings, maybe 3 or 4 runs, but at least give you a chance every night. This was above average from Griffin Canning tonight, and it just continues a theme that we have seen from him. And I think it's clear to say his best start in a Mets uniform. Before we take a quick break and talk about the player of the game and get you ready for tomorrow's contest for the New York Mets, there's a turning point in this game. It happened on offense, and I think it deserves to be mentioned because it won't show up in the box score exactly the way it played out, but was a really heads-up play.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
We throw around the term baseball IQ a lot. I don't think you'll see a better example of somebody having high baseball IQ than what Francisco Lindor did in the second inning. He deposits a hit into right field that allows Brett Beatty to score. The throw comes in and it gets cut off as Lindor is kind of going to second. And Lindor, while making sure he keeps his eye on the baseball so that he can stay alive in the play, is motioning to Tyrone Taylor to try to score the run and gets purposefully in the rundown and delays it long enough to allow Taylor to score. I mean, you practice that play in spring training. You work on that play when you're in Little League, that you're always trying to just extend the play to allow that run to score. He caught the Cardinals napping. They never made a play at home. I mean, just absolutely heads up, high baseball IQ base running from Francisco Lindor, because not only is he got to think about that, but he waves his hand at Taylor and tells him to go, and that doesn't even stop the Cardinals. They don't make the play at the plate, and he just is able to stay in the rundown long enough to allow the run to score. Again, the Mets only allowed 1 run in this game, so it's not like the difference, but you want something to take away from this game offensively to show that when this team is clicking, good things are going to happen. You've got players like this who have super high baseball IQs that are going to be able to have plays like this. So just really, really encouraging to see that. And again, just a super smart heads-up baseball play by one of the smartest baseball players in the game. And just, again, it's a footnote in this game because it wasn't the run that decided it, but wanted to make sure that we made mention of it. We've got a player of the game to give out, and we will get you set for all of the action tomorrow here on the other side. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you are ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles. You got EA Sports College Football 25, one of my personal favorites, to Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and Avowed, as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It is gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. And your Fire TV, endless entertainment. 4K streaming. You can watch more than, this is not a typo, 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services, Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. Maybe you want to catch up on some of the Star Wars stuff on Disney Plus, or you want to catch the latest stuff on Netflix. You got it right there with the Fire TV. You can also play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. Already have one. A Fire TV Stick 4K device is more affordable and easier to travel with, allowing you to take you or your kids' games wherever you plug in. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including the Fire TV Stick 4K, second gen, the Fire TV Stick 4K Max, first and second gen, and the Fire TV Cube, third gen. The basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up, and there is no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards with PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. With PrizePicks, you simply just pick more or less on at least 2-player projections, and you are in. You can even combine players across sports. So maybe you want to mix some basketball and some hockey because those are the playoffs going on. You can do that for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. There is nothing better than catching an MLB game live. I'm waiting to catch my first bit of Mets action in person this season. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the smell of the ballpark food, the noise when Pete Alonso hits a warning track shot. If you're looking to go last minute, Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guaranteed, Gametime takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as Gametime gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. Gametime, the official ticketing partner of Locked On, as the Mets season continues to be in full swing, and you can count on them to help you grab tickets that meet your needs. They've got the Gametime Picks feature. This makes finding the best deals effortless. It filters out all of the fluff and highlights the top discounts in the stadium. My favorite feature, the seat view. You can preview your exact seats before you purchase them. No bad surprises when you show up to the ballpark. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Back here on the Mets postcast on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel and the Locked On Mets podcast feed, wrapping up a Mets victory, snapping their 2-game losing streak, defeating the Cardinals 4-1 in this game behind an excellent night from Griffin Canning. And yeah, you betcha, we're giving it out to the pitcher tonight, the player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
How can you not give it to the guy who had his best start in a Mets uniform? 8 strikeouts, 6 innings, only 3 hits allowed, 2 walks, so kept things under control. Got into a little bit of trouble in the first inning. Walked a guy who's hitting below 200, but settled down after that, was cruising, got those 8 strikeouts like we mentioned, loaded up the strike zone, had all of his offerings working, and again, just taking the baton and just passing it to the next guy. That is what this Mets pitching has done all season long, and it has been super, super impressive. And it is easily the thing that allows you to be slump-proof, right? It's the thing that allows a losing streak to not grow and grow and grow is when you have quality starting pitching. And I know this week's been a little weird with Canning being ill, needing a spot start a little bit earlier. The Mets were expecting to use the 6th man in their rotation for tomorrow's game. They had to move it up because Canning was dealing with an illness, but he was good enough to go tonight. And I saw somebody in the chat mention a flu game. Jonathan said the Canning flu game is what we're talking about. I don't know if it was exactly the flu, but I'm good for a little lore. I'm good for a little Griffin Canning flu game lore. We can add that to the list of things from this season. But this is the strength of this team. Surprisingly, I think we thought it was one of the biggest weaknesses coming in, but they've just done a good job of being solid night in and night out. And the question mark we had early in the season is, could they give the length? Tonight, you got the length from Griffin Canning, gave you 6 innings, and then you turned it over to the bullpen, Reed Garrett, AJ Minter, and Edwin Diaz. And look, let's touch on Edwin Diaz before we get out of here, because he did walk the first batter, and we just got to stop that. Like, that just has to be a thing that he rids from his repertoire right now, because while he got away with it tonight and he's gotten away with it more often than not, it's going to burn him at some point. It's going to burn him in a big way. And I have a feeling it's going to burn him in a way where we come to these postcasts and you and I are having a good time talking about a win, and then it turns into a loss, and these postcasts take on a totally different feel when Edwin Diaz blows a save. He just cannot walk the leadoff guy. You got to have the command. And what's weird about it is it's almost instantaneous that he gets it back, at least the last couple times out. He's grabbed the command back almost immediately, and he's pouring over fastballs, and he's pouring over sliders, and he's making hitters look foolish like we know Edwin Diaz is capable. And he just has a weird start to the game. Sometimes it's one batter, sometimes it's a couple of batters, and he's just got to figure that out, because at some point he is going to make a mistake, and it's going to cost the Mets in a big way. It didn't tonight. And again, he only allowed the 1 walk and battled back and really found his command after that, and was really solid. Let's pick up his 4th save of the season. And I have in the box score here, his ERA is 5.87. So hopefully we can get that to come down here over the course of the season. But the Mets pick up a win. Tomorrow, they are back in action against the Cardinals. Game 2 of this series. It is Miles Mikolas taking on David Peterson in Game 2 of this 4-game stretch as the Mets, for the 6th straight series, win the opening game. Can't complain too much about that. I know the way things ended in Minnesota left a bad taste in all of our mouths, but like expected, I think with this team, they are going to battle. They are going to respond, and it's going to be tough to keep them down for an extended period of time like we saw tonight. And again, not a night where the offense, the bats, really broke out in a big way. The Mets were able to pick up that victory. But that will do it for us here on the Mets Postcast. If you want any more thoughts, Ryan's got you covered on the Locked On Mets podcast Monday through Friday. Those longer form deep dives, I've got you after the game. So if you're new here, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. What took you so long for being so new? This is your hangout spot. You, me, we get to talk about the Mets, and team's 12-7. We've done a lot more talking about winning than we've had about losing. It's a good time. So you're going to want to come back tomorrow when we wrap up Game 2 of this series against the St. Louis Cardinals. But the Mets, for the 6th straight time, win their series opener. They defeat the Cardinals 4-1, and they will look to make it 2 in a row. They'll try to turn that 2-game losing streak very quickly into a 2-game winning streak, and we will be here on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel and in the Locked On Mets podcast feed to break it all down. Have a good night, everybody.